Hey everyone, it's Anna. Today we are going to delve into the world of Squid Game and we're going to find out why some people have been saying Squid Game Season 2 is not as good as the first one. And of course I have my own opinions and I'll share them with you at the end. We're going to recap the plot, discuss the themes, and a look at viewership statistics to understand the show's impact. So let's go. So Squid Game Season 1 follows 456 debt-ridden contestants who participate in deadly versions of childhood games for a massive cash prize. The series critiques capitalism, inequality, and human desperation with characters like Song Gi-hun representing the average Joe and Jo Sang-woo embodying societal greed. And Season 1 really struck a chord worldwide by highlighting real-world issues like economic disparity and the human cost of systematic exploitation. And the unique blend of Korean cultural elements made it both fresh and relatable. The games that were all portrayed, these were all legit games that us Koreans played as kids. I'm not sure about Gen Alpha, the Gen Z of today, but I'm a millennial. I definitely remember playing those childhood games when I was younger. And the juxtaposition of these children's games, along with the people dropping dead at every stage, combined with the phenomenal acting, the show was an instant success. Season 1 became Netflix's most watched show at launch, with over 142 million households viewing it within 28 days, and it swept all of the critics awards. Season 2 has dropped obviously in its entirety, but we don't have to wait long for Season 3. I believe that it's meant to come out in the summer or in the autumn of this year, 2025. But before the new season comes out, if you would like to learn some basic Korean for a better understanding of the show, I highly recommend checking out italki for that purpose. So italki is an online language learning platform that connects language learners with private native teachers through video chat for one-on-one language lessons in the comfort of your own home. You can choose to have lessons with a professional teacher with college degrees who provide structured learning plans, or you can choose a community tutor who are just native speakers who enjoy helping people learn their languages through fun conversations. Teachers on italki set their own price and time schedules, so you can pick one that suits your needs best in your current situation. I did a half-an-hour French lesson because I did learn French at school, but that was 15 years ago and I forgot most of it. But she was really helpful. For my trial lesson, she made me do some listening, some speaking, and some reading.
Okay, so you do violon. If you already have you, okay, piano also needs to have the. Okay, de la piano.
And it made me realize just how bad I had gotten. It's completely free to join the platform and you only need to pay for your lesson with your teacher that you've chosen, so you can make it as affordable or expensive as you want. italki currently offers lessons for over 150 languages, from the most common English, French, Spanish, Chinese, to the more rare languages such as Tibetan or Azerbaijani. And once you've selected a teacher, you take your video lesson with them that can range from 30 minutes to 90 minutes. You can decide exactly what you want from the lesson, so whether it's nailing vocab and grammar or just going through natural casual speech. And since you can book lessons one at a time, it's very easy to switch tutors if your current one doesn't seem like such a good fit. With over 5 million students and 30,000 high quality tutors, it's a learning platform that you can trust. So if you guys want to try it out for yourself and master a language in 2025, check out the link down below and get $5 when you spend 10 by using my code ANNALEE5. And this discount only applies to the first 50 users, so snap them up while you can. So go check out the link down below, and now let's go back to the review. Season 2 set a new record with 68 million views within its first 4 days, surpassing the previous record held by Wednesday. And I binge-watched it the day after it came out, all 7 episodes. So what happens in Season 2? So Gi-hun, the main protagonist, he basically seeks justice against the show's creators. At first he's meant to go on a flight to see his daughter, but then he realizes that he really wants to stop the bad guys from continuing to play this game. So although he won the previous season, he's left with just a buttload of money, around 31 million US dollars to be exact, but he's broken inside, and so he voluntarily goes back into the game to play again, and he wants to stop the organization at its core. So it came out on the 26th of December to kind of mixed reviews. The most I've seen is about the ending, the abrupt ending, and that this doesn't feel like a whole season but just like a pause. This was just the prelude to Season 3. And some people say that this season lacked the intensity and emotional depth of the original. I have my own opinion, so let me go through them. Let's start with episode 1. From episode 1, we have to have Kong Yu. He's so tall and handsome, he has to be in episode 1, but he is actually psychotic. When he gives the bread and the lottery ticket to the homeless, I originally thought that he was inviting the homeless people to participate in the game, but that turned out to not be the case. He was just playing that game for his own sick enjoyment, because he didn't end up inviting any of them, and he was just purely doing it just to tell everyone that they're trash. He really reminds me of Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, that kind of really psychotic, evil character character who's messed up in the head, but he is so tall and handsome. And spoiler alert, obviously there's going to be spoilers in this review. The scene where he's playing Russian roulette with Ki-hoon, once Ki-hoon shot the penultimate shot to his head and it did not kill him, he knows that he's going to die next, but he's so committed to the sick game. He so wants to play by the game's rules. He knows that he's going to die, but he just pulls the trigger and that's the end of his life. I genuinely don't understand how anyone can actually give up their life for that. But does that mean we're not going to get him in the first episodes of season 3? That's such a shame. He needs to be a reoccurring character in each season. So we'll have to see if that happens. But Gong Yu, phenomenal acting, I must say. In terms of other phenomenal acting, Lee Byung-hun, who's the front man, he is one of the best actors we have in Korea. And the difference between the first season and this one is definitely, we know from the beginning that he's entered playing the game as the X-Man. He's the final boss, but he's pretending to be contestant 001. And Ki-hoon, if he was slightly smarter, maybe he would have noticed something suspicious. How can he not find this guy fishy? I don't understand. He already knows the old grandpa that was in season 1. He was also a 001. This guy is also a 001. And there were other suspicious things, like he already knew Ki-hoon's name and he was like, how do you know my name? And he kind of just brushed it off saying, I heard someone say it. But to be fair, this guy has gone through a lot. He's probably has a lot of trauma and PTSD. These kind of things just like went past him. So yeah, this season it was really interesting to see the front man play the games from the beginning. We, the audience, know what's going on, but the contestants don't. But yeah, amazing acting from the front man. The whole side plot about the police, the younger brother, trying to investigate what's going on. The boat scenes at the sea. I understand that we needed them, but some of it felt so drawn out and boring. I think the best parts of the show is obviously the thrilling games, and that's what the people want to watch. But some of the shots of the ocean and the captain, I found myself getting a bit bored in those scenes, but we all knew it was coming that the captain was suspicious. The other big difference in this season is that the contestants get to vote after each game, whether they want to stay and have a chance to win more money or just quit the game here and just leave. This happened after every game, and I felt like at times those scenes got too repetitive and a bit too drawn out. And the continuous voting and people arguing about which side to take, that just kind of reminded me too much of reality with all the elections and political turmoil that we've had globally this past year. That was too much of like a stark reality, and it just kind of made me feel tired watching it, honestly. And for me, after they had played like 2 games, the biggest thought that I had was, how could so many people continue to want to stay and keep playing the game after they've just witnessed the most horrific things happen and you know that you can be next? I feel like fear would trump everything. Nobody is that risk averse. You'll be literally shaking, quaking, just wanting to get out of there. So that part I kind of was like, yeah, not so sure about that. I've seen some people on comment sections on YouTube and whatnot, some people were saying, why didn't Ki-hoon just tell the rest of the contestants like, hey, I have $31 million. If we all decide to leave together, I can compensate all of you very well and we can just all leave unscathed and alive. To that I say, well, yes, he could have done that. I doubt the guards would have let that happen anyway, but even so, that wasn't the point because Ki-hoon really wanted to get to the core, to the head of the organization. Yes, this particular round of contestants could have left and gone home peacefully, but what about the next round? And the next round of desperate people that were wanting to come and play? He really wants to stop that from happening. So that was his motive. But I must say, Ki-hoon's character in this season compared to the first, in the first season, he had some sort of charm about him. He definitely wasn't a perfect character. We see at the beginning, he was like gambling and he's like kind of struggling through the games and he's struggling with a sense of morality and like you're really rooting for the guy. But in this season, his character just seems so serious and kind of preachy. He just keeps yelling at everybody and a bit like holier than thou. And yeah, I felt like his character this season just kind of lacked that charm that he had in season 1. But I must say, phenomenal acting all across the board. All of the new side characters that we have, the transgender guy, the pregnant girl, the old lady and her son, and best friend of Ki-hoon, who, spoiler alert, ends up being shot in the 7th episode. Oh, and we have to talk about Big Bang's top because a lot of people were talking about it. For me, I don't think his acting was particularly awful per se. It's just the character that he was playing. I found it cringe, and I feel like the writers that wrote the lines for Thanos, that character, some of the lines were just awful and cringy. Like, I don't know if any better actor could have pulled those cringy lines off any better, so.
I don't know what the fuck are you talking about. I'm a legend, Thanos. I'm okay.
And to me, he didn't seem like he was particularly acting. If you know Big Bang at all, he was always this kind of like weird, goofy character. And obviously it's kind of ironic that the character in this show is like taking drugs. Was like his biggest scandal. And yeah, because for me, I just know him as Big Bang Top so much. When I was watching the show, I could really like immerse myself into the show and all the characters. Whenever Top came on screen, it just brought me back to reality, like, oh, that's Big Bang Top and he's acting. Whereas for everyone else, I didn't feel that way. He's definitely like the comic relief of the show because he's so like weird and goofy throughout. He gets kind of killed off without having any really significant impact. So yeah, I don't know how you guys felt, but let me know down in the comments. But I thought the writers did a good job at bringing interesting characters who might have beef with each other. So for example, Im Ji-wan, who is like the cryptocurrency YouTuber, and he scammed a lot of his viewers. He gave them bad advice, and Thanos was one of them. Obviously, that's going to spark off drama, and people are going to be hating on this guy. And the cryptocurrency guy and also the pregnant girl, they had a relationship, but he kind of didn't stick by her. So there's tension there. And it's clear that the bosses of this organization want drama and want fighting to happen, especially when they were giving out kimbap roll. It's like a traditional Korean snack. And they gave a metal fork along with the kimbap. And if you're Korean, we will never, ever eat kimbap with a fork. Like, that's just outrageous. We use chopsticks for basically everything. And the fact that it was not even like a wooden fork or anything, it was metal. They wanted the contestants to fight amongst themselves. That creates more entertainment for the rich evil people up there watching it all. What I found also hard to believe is that because of the continuous voting, there's like one half of the contestants saying, we want to leave right now, we don't want to get killed. And there's the other half who want to keep going and try to earn even more money. They're saying the money that we will end up leaving with right now is not enough. And so a fight breaks out between these two groups and it gets kind of bloody and messy. And what Ki-hoon ends up doing is he hides underneath the bed, and him and his close group of supporters, I guess, they devise a plan to throw off the pink masked people by pretending to be dead. And then as they're getting chipped, they steal the guns and then they start the rebellion, the coup d'etat. If that was like a real life situation, I really don't think they would have been successful, in all honesty. All of those pink armed guards, and you're going to take these newbies, just normal people who have never trained before, most of them, somehow going to overthrow these professional gunmen, pink guys. I found that a little bit hard to believe, but yes, let's just say for the sake of the show, that's what happened. And then Ki-hoon and the frontman, they were having a conversation, and Ki-hoon basically reveals that he's willing to sacrifice a few for the greater good. When he says those lines, the frontman kind of does like a half smirk, half smile, because he knows once he said that, he's just the same as the rest of them. You're not the hero anymore. You're pretending to be the hero, but you're technically not. You're just as trash. And then they all decide to go after the bosses, which also I found this really like, what would be their motive, you know? And for especially the half that were voting to leave, they really wanted to end the games here. They don't want any more violence, gunfire, any more deaths. They're all that willing suddenly to stop this and to be like, okay, yeah, let's throw ourselves into a more dangerous situation by going after the pink guys and then the bosses. I really, really find that hard to believe. Especially there were guys in there like the dad who had the daughter outside with cancer. I'm sure all he wants to do at that point is just leave and just stop. But they're all so willing to help, and a massive gunfire fight breaks out in episode 7, the final episode. And it goes on for so long. And to be honest, for me, I don't like watching that kind of non-stop adrenaline. It gives me anxiety, and it went on for like half an hour. I didn't really enjoy that. And in the end, Ki-hoon and his best friend, they go up and they almost at like the room, secret room. But then the front man, who has been pretending all this time that he is on their side, he comes back wearing the mask at the end. And he's like, did you have fun playing the hero? Because you're not a hero, dude. Obviously, Ki-hoon is distraught that his friend is now dead. And we see some people who have been shot at, especially the dad with the girl who has cancer. We see him kind of being backed up against the ledge. We see a pink person pointing a gun at him. And originally it was pointed at his heart, at his midsection. But when the shot was actually shot, it kind of pointed lower. So there's a theory that that was Noor, the North Korean defector girl, because she knows who that dad is. So the theory is that she shot at his lower half, so he's not going to actually die. He's just going to get injured. And that once his body gets taken down to be harvested for organs, then she's going to swoop in there and try to save that dad. I think season 3 will be the final showdown, especially with the front man and what happens. But I just have this feeling that Ki-hoon is going to get turned into one of the bad guys, because that's what happened to the front man right now. When he first entered the game, it was the old guy who was the boss, and then that torch kind of passed on to Lee Byung-hun, the front man now. And I really think Ki-hoon, he's so messed up in the head from all this trauma, and because he was also a previous winner, same as the front man, I really feel like he might get converted to the dark side and end up being the boss eventually. But who knows? That's my theory. Also, I think season 3 is meant to be the last season, maybe. But if that's the case, this is Netflix's most successful, most money earning show ever. They want to milk this IP because it is a cash cow for them. So I have a feeling they might like continue on for more seasons or have spin spin-off shows. I've seen some articles saying that there will be like an American Squid Game. Who knows? There have also been swirling rumors that Leonardo DiCaprio might make a cameo in season 3, because there was an interview of Lee Jong-jae. They went to all the like Golden Globes and the Oscars, and he said Leonardo DiCaprio came up to him and was like, I seriously enjoyed the show so much. It was very thrilling to watch, and it showcased the injustices and capitalism and all of those like deep societal messages. It's like, it was really well done. And so there have been rumors that Leonardo DiCaprio makes a small cameo in season 3. Season 3 has all been filmed already. They're just editing it right now. And so if he did make a cameo, I'm placing a bet that he might be one of the rich evil guys behind the pig masks and stuff who are just watching these desperate people play the games. He might be one of the evil guys. But imagine if Leonardo DiCaprio had played Thanos' character, this drugged up, I mean, if you've seen him in Wolf of Wall Street, I really feel like he could have pulled off that character really well as well. This drugged up rapper guy. And despite all of the things I mentioned, I myself enjoyed season 2. There was nothing that was not entertaining about it. I didn't really particularly like episode 7 because, like I said, it got cut off abruptly and it's just too much gunfire and anxiety for me. But I was gripped throughout this whole season. I watched it all in one go. So I'm very much looking forward to the next. What did you think? Please let me know your thoughts down below about everything I just mentioned. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!